All right, let's go. Tuesday, February 5th. Let's see what we're going to talk about. First of all, let me just remind everybody that yesterday was Monday. I sent out the new edition of MMT Trader. If you want to get a copy of that, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, and sign up for a 30-day free trial. I will send you the copy, and you can access all the back issues. Remember, I'm the only one who has put together an applied approach to MMT. That means using the concepts of MMT. And let's face it, MMT is blowing up everywhere now. It has gone viral. You know, you got the Fed chief Powell talking about it. You got everybody talking about it. I've been involved with MMT for 18 years. Okay, I was talking about it 18 years ago, and 17, and 16, and 15, and 10 years when I was on Fox. And I was laughed at and derided and mocked, and nobody paid attention, but I was in that original group who was out there everywhere I could, putting out the ideas of MMT and trying to educate. And I have educated a lot of people on this. But now it's out, now it's viral, it's everywhere. You have every media outlet talking about it. You have every major economist talking about it. And you have all the original MMT founders and academics who are talking about it in an academic way. I am the only one who has formulated an applied approach to MMT. I take the concepts of MMT and we use those concepts to invest and trade in the markets. Now, if you understand that MMT is the correct understanding of how the monetary system functions, then it should come from that understanding that we have a much better probability of beating everyone else, because everyone else has a flawed understanding, right? If you go back, and you can go back and look at some of my really old videos, even ones from 2009, when the Fed was engaging in all of its extraordinary monetary operations after the crash. And everybody said, oh, the dollar was going to collapse and there was going to be hyperinflation and this and that and interest rates were going to spike. I said, no. It was going to be the opposite. The dollar was going to go up because all that quantitative easing, it wasn't easing at all. The Fed was removing trillions and trillions of dollars worth of high quality, high interest paying assets from the economy. They was stripping income, literally stripping dollars out of the economy. And you saw it very clearly in personal interest income, which is not an insignificant part of personal income. It went down by a lot. Dollar was going to go up, I said. The rate cuts to zero interest rates is deflationary. It's not inflationary, certainly not hyperinflationary. I said all that. So, in other words, if you have a proper understanding, if you have the best understanding of how if you have the right understanding, the correct understanding of how the monetary system functions, you're going to beat everyone else, provided you got the mental game. And that's also what I teach and I coach people with. That's very important. I've said it so many times. Most of you out there and most people out there are searching for the system fairy. The illusory system fairy. I talk about the system fairy. That is people who believe that there is some magical system out there that's going to carry them to success without any sort of stress or discomfort or having to face any kind of adversity, with these perfectly timed entry points and these little minute little stop losses that you never have to really worry too much about, and these big profits all the time. Literally, people are on an unending quest for this imaginary system fairy. And I've said, look, I could take darts and throw darts at a dartboard and make money, because it's the mental game. And how do you get mental game? Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It is really, really hard. And most people will never attain mental game, because in order to get mental game, and I'm going to tell you this point blank, in order to get mental game, you have to be willing to put yourself in the most uncomfortable and stressful positions all the time. All the time. It's like any kind of physical fitness. It requires resistance. It requires effort, and it requires pain, right? Everyone heard no pain, no gain. Mental game is the same thing. You're literally building up the muscle of your brain, that mental toughness, and the way to do that, the only way to do that, I wish I could tell you there was a trick or some exercises you can do. The only way that is to understand that you are going to have to face discomfort and adversity and high levels of stress all the time. It never gets easy. And number two, you're going to have to do it all the time. All the time. And when you can kind of condition your brain or condition yourself into looking forward to that, understanding that that's the key to your liberation, so to speak, when you're able to look forward to that, when you know you're in that tough position and you got to manage it and things are not going the way you want, but you have everything correctly figured out, and even if you don't have everything correctly figured out, because sometimes we're going to be wrong, or sometimes something could happen out of nowhere that could change conditions in the blink of an eye, you got to be able to manage your way out of that. This is like Navy SEAL training. It's like the highest level Special Forces soldier who is trained to operate under all kinds of extreme stress conditions, and when things don't go right, they have the tools and the inner self-confidence to know that they can work out of it. That's what it comes down to. Anyway, a little bit of a talk on the market. The things that I look at, which I'm not even going to say they're forward leading, these are the things that literally create the economy. Things like fiscal flows, things like bank credit, loans and leases. What are the banks doing and what causes them to do what they do? None of those things are pointing to a slowdown in the first quarter, all right? You got the Atlanta Fed right now coming out with a forecast for first quarter GDP of 0.3%. Now remember, everybody went crazy in the fourth quarter of last year because it was 2.6%. They sold the stock market down like maniacs. And I was saying through the whole thing, you got to buy it, you got to buy it. And that was on a 2.4, 2.6% GDP, which was a slowdown from the third quarter. Now they're talking about a 0.3% growth rate. Now, I don't know where they come up with that, other than they too are basing their forecast on rearward looking data. I'm not basing my forecast on anything but the actual monetary things that drive the economy. So what am I saying? I'm saying I think I'm going to be right and they're going to be wrong. And I'm also saying, like I said yesterday to my subscribers, when the market was down almost 400 points, I said you got to buy that dip. Yes, we're going to be flirting here with 2,800 on the S&P. I said that several videos back. I said that is going to be a resistance point, but we're going to get through that. The monetary conditions are such that we are going to get through that. And yeah, I understand you got that whole China-US trade thing hanging over everything. And I also understand that if that falls through, and it could, because you know Trump, they're going to sell this market down again like crazy. But that is a short-term blip. It will create another buying opportunity. The U.S. and China, the two economies are decoupling. This is a long-term thing. We'll get through this. So that's it. Remember, I am the only one who has put together an applied approach to MMT. I have taken the concepts of MMT. There's a lot of academics out there, which is great. It's gone viral. They're all talking about MMT. But I'm the only guy who has put together an approach that uses MMT and mental game to profitably invest and trade in the markets. Go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. Bye-bye.